So
Yeah, and I'll tell you, like we obviously had a bunch of people drop off, but then certain industries are just like
I know
exploding right now. So we're like, well, it's half good, half bad. Who knows what's going to happen? But
we
yeah, I mean, I think the longevity will be the big factor of like what is it? Where does this all come out in the end? You know?
right. We got lucky. I know lucky, but we were just in the right industries that didn't get hit with our clients. And
Yeah,
then we got a bunch of e-commerce leads come in like a week before the whole thing hit. So then it's like, and that's all online sales. So it's
yep,
like, phew, made it. Yeah,
yeah,
but now it's just going to be helping people rebuild, and
yeah,
hopefully it'll be fast. I think so. For guys like us, so with our industry, it's going to be a gold rush. It's just
yeah.
will.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, exactly. So I don't want to screw up your name for the intro. I know it looks simple, but I just want to make sure I say it right.
yep. LaClear.
LaClear, Matt
Yep.
LaClear.
Matt
Okay,
LaClear.
got it. Got it. I get some names that are like really hard to
Oh,
say, and I'm like, oh man, I'm not
I
gonna
saw the
work.
one from last week. You did pretty good with it.
Not bad. Awesome. All right. Well, my guys will find the right spot to chop it in, but we'll just dive right in.
Cool.
And boom. So on this episode, we're speaking with Matt LaClear. He is the owner of Your SEO Squad. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Hey, I'm glad to be here, Mike. Thank you.
Tell the audience a little bit about your business, about your company.
Well, right now we're all relaxing at home, socially isolating. No, we run an agency, an SEO agency, and we deal with a lot of attorneys, clients, and they're doing pretty good. Though they're getting a little freaked out because they're not getting any clientele. But the rest of the industry is going well. But other than that, it's been just helping clients and not freaking out over this crisis. I mean, I know you're a consultant too, Mike. So how many clients have you talked off the ledge in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, too many. And I mean, the last time the economy went funny, it was the same. It was the same thing. I wasn't as prepared last time. I'm happier to have been a little bit more equipped this time, which is a nice compared to, I just lost 90. I'm like, oh, the world's over. Okay,
Right,
great.
right.
This time you like have a little bit more of a
Yeah.
handle on it. You know how to have the conversations a bit better. So
Oh yeah, and you realize what you need to do a lot faster. Like the first time it happened, it's like, what's going on? What's going on? This isn't happening. This isn't happening. Now this time, okay, we got to do this, and we know we'll be okay.
yeah,
And
ready to pivot on a dime.
yeah, that's called survival, right?
You got it. So, when things are business as usual, what are the types of clients that you work with? The majority?
We work with a lot of, like I said, attorneys. We work with manufacturers. We work with bail bondsmen. We work with nail salons. We pretty much across the board. And it's a lot of local SEO is our bread and butter, but we also do organic campaigns for the manufacturers like Gutters and Eve Strauss and stuff like that nationwide. So that's
Yeah.
it's a gig. It pays. We're pretty good at it. It's been doing it for 12 years now. So
Gotta say something.
yeah, you know what? It used to be like a rock star job because I had a convertible that and I had a Mr. SEO personalized plate. I was that guy. And that was literally country club money. And where it was overhead was very low, and a lot of affiliate marketers were hiring me. An affiliate marketer could be anybody. It could be a janitor that wanted to start to get into. So I had janitors sending me money, So it was like everybody was in the market for SEO in those days. But now it's just a job. It's a tricky one, but once you understand it, it's like, hey, I might as well stick with it. And I know when to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's one of those things where I think the conversation keeps bouncing around. Is it dead? Is it this? What are the new techniques? But I think, from some of the conversations I've been having in general about it, and it's not particularly a service that we offer. It's like more to do with like if your basic on page and back end stuff is messed up, we'll kind of give you some guidance, but we don't do much beyond that activation. But it's funny, I was having a conversation with someone. He was saying, everyone always wants to know what the new trend is. The new trend, he goes, it's just best practices, really. It's knowing what you're doing, keeping up with certain algorithm components, and then just making sure you're keeping to the standard of the search consoles and what they are.
I'd even go one step further. Well, when I first got into the industry, I was black hat. We started 12 years ago. I set up a PBN with 2,000 to 3,000 .info sites, and PBN, private blog network, and clients would pay me $99, and I would just spam my own network, hundreds of sites, and they'd have links in the next day. Usually they would rank within a couple of days, and then they would call me up and say, Matt, you just made my year. I just hired 5 new people. I love Matt LaClear. And that's in times. Then when Penguin hit in 2012, we had 10,600 campaigns we were working on for clients, that many customers. Some had multiple client campaigns, but half of them lost their rankings all at once. And I remember I was at the country club playing golf with my dad, and I heard everything going on. I was like, no, there can't be anything such thing as manual link penalties. It's impossible. I'm telling you, you're mistaken. Then I got home, and then it was I spent the next 4 or 5 years trying to beat the algorithm again, because I was really good at beating the algorithm in the old days. Then I spent from 2012 to 2017, I still was trying to crack the algorithm, but you hit it. Now it's just best practices. And what's best practices is to take care of your user. If you're taking care of your user and making sure you got user intent, then making sure that you have an upsell even that fits into the progression of the user intent, of the search intent. So they're looking for red apples for apple pie for baking, and you should have a recipe or sell them some red apples, or have recipes for red apples, give them what they want, and then have links over to other pages on your website that fits into what their intent is and what they're looking for. That's just being a good small business owner. And if you do that, all of a sudden Google starts liking your site, and people think that you're an SEO genius, but all you're doing is Google just rewards businesses that take care of their users.
Yeah. And I mean, I think at the end of the day, that is a good way to take it. I mean, I like that they're always looking out. I mean, they're always looking out for their own best interest, of course, but 100%. I think, what their best interest entails is making sure that the users of their product are getting what they want when they search for stuff. So it is good for the end consumer, I think, the way that they've done it. I mean, as a marketer, as a guy, used to be able to just set up a couple of traps and techniques and you were good to go. So it's a little bit harder now, but I think it's good intent on Google from the standpoint of like making sure that people can more easily find what they want. They're constantly enhancing and bettering their product. Now, sometimes their thesis on what makes it better is wrong, and it screws people up.
But for the most part, the Google is now a tool you can use to find things. Back in 2000, before Penguin in 2012, it was a crapshoot. You might, if you're looking for a local attorney in your city, you may get an attorney in another city, or you may get somebody selling an ebook to an attorney. Or you could have affiliate product for attorneys. You could have all that showing up on the same page because it was all based on links. Right. And whatever links you had and whatever keywords you put in the anchor text, that's what you were going to rank for. So when you were searching for something, it's like going to the library when you were a kid and you got the Dewey Decimal System and you pulled the drawer out. What if everything was all mixed up? You wouldn't be able to find your book. And that's exactly what Google was like before. So yeah, they took care of their tool because now it's a good tool. Now you can usually on your phone even, you could find what you're looking for within 15 seconds. And that never was the case before. You would have to oh no, you would just get used to going to the site, looking at it and realizing that it wasn't what you wanted and hit back real quick and go to the next one. We take that for granted, that it was just what you did on page one, but it's not that way anymore. Now it's like Google, if you can figure out what the intent of your users are when they search a particular keyword and to just make your content line up with that, I tell you, it's like almost like taking candy from the baby, because most small businesses don't do that. They just don't. Sure. And also to have your meta title and your meta description to be about that too, because once you get to page one, you got to get clicks, and it's about your meta description. And if you optimize your meta title for clicks, you're going to be in a pretty good position to win. But because there's a lot of people in your industry taking care of their users too, so they get into a position where who are we going to give this traffic to? Because they're all taking care of their user, they all are giving the user what they want. Some of them have more links and some of them don't, but which one are getting the most clicks from on page one? And Google looks at that and they say, well, that's what people are more interested in. And then that's rank brain. And so what happens is that part of the algorithm, whatever site is getting the most clicks, will push up to the top of page one. And that's how you get ahead there. But you could have great on page, you could have great links and get to page one and keep sinking down to like the 9 spot. Or the 8 spot, and then go up and get new links, and you'll go up to like 3 spot and then drop down. It's because of that, because you're not optimized for click-throughs on your meta descriptions. I don't know how I got into that description.
Yeah. No, that's good. No, that's very valuable. I think a lot of people, there's a lot of information out there about this stuff, and there's a lot of people that are full of it who have just did a course and they're like, oh, I'm an expert now. So it's good to hear, from somebody who had it at that, like, yeah, we got away with Black Hat. It was amazing, and kind of took it and maintained it through that entire progression. It's super valuable hearing it from you because you have the experience. Right. So that's really interesting. And would you say, or in your opinion, or maybe it's a fact or not a fact, or you don't know, but buying Google AdWords to help lift the credibility of your organic stuff, kinda?
Yeah, it works. Yeah. It works. And because I always will take a client, well, we're an SEO agency, but we need to generate leads for our clients fast when we get a client. So what we'll do is we'll do like a hybrid campaign where we'll do some digital marketing and run some Facebook ads, get them a squeeze page, get them some opt-ins, get them some sales while we're working on their SEO, because sometimes SEO takes a bit. But if we're in that zone and we can dial that in, it's all digital marketing. It's just to the point. I forgot what was your question again?
Just on the impact of buying Google.
Oh yeah. Because that's one of the first steps we do. First of all, you have to know if your pages are going to convert. And it's arrogant to think as a small business owner that we can put a page, or a marketer, we can put a page up that is exactly aligned with what our user wants. I mean, I used to think that way, and I thought I was like Nostradamus. I knew everything about my prospect, but I was just full of it. I was just guessing most of the time. It's like doing a customer avatar and you fill it out and it takes you 2 minutes. It's like, no, dude, it's supposed to take you like 3 months to fill that out. No, I did it. I guessed them all. Let's go play golf. And I just thought I was a genius. But to the point now where it's like, if you get that traffic coming in and you can see what your traffic's doing, use that paid traffic to validate your concept of that page. And once you start seeing your metrics are good and you're getting conversions, Google's not stupid. They say there's no relationship between paid traffic, but when they see a page that's optimized properly and it's taking care of the users and it doesn't have that many backlinks or any, and then you buy traffic to it and it converts well and their users like it, you get a boost and conversions. But most people will tell you that's not the case, but it is.
Right. Yeah. I'm curious because you mentioned, and I agree, like having a filler of a squeeze page that can facilitate some level of lead generation at the beginning while you're working on the back end. Mm-hmm. My guess is even if you've got the squeeze page built into the main site, I'm guessing that doesn't really help overall in terms of your ranking. It's really just something helping out on the front end to generate leads.
On the same token too, it's like you'll get more brand mention searches too with your organic. And there's a lot of times where you'll start running paid traffic and all of a sudden your organic, it just goes through the roof. You're like, wow, this is great. Google's rewarding us. But all that's happening is people are searching the brand name. Like, who are these people? And then, but that's still organic traffic that's coming in, and that's still somebody using their tool, one of their customers searching you out, and then they know when they search your brand name and they end up on your site for a while, they know you liked it. And plus, guess what? I think they own Google Analytics. There's a secret out that Google owns Google Analytics, and they can tell what's going on your website after somebody gets there. That's a secret. I don't know.
You heard it here first, kids. It is exclusive.
Get your tinfoil hats on. But yeah, they know what's going on across the board. They just have, it's like they have back in 100 years ago, and you'd have direct mail marketers, they call them correspondents, and they would write out all the sales copy for the business and all the collection letters and all the Valentine's Day stuff. And they had a process where they knew exactly if with the headline, and they knew there'd be clinchers and there would be attention getters, and they would know every element. But Google has digitized the entire sales process from tire kicking all the way up to, I'm a little more interested in tire kicking. I want to get that report on tires. Now they got a PDF and they're looking at it. Google's got that digitized. They got it tracked. They know where your prospects are, and they have each of those points. If you set up events on your site too, that's even more so. That helps bounce rates. And if you're Google, there's a lot you can do to make Google think your site is all that. And some of it involves buying traffic. Some of it involves showing that you know how to handle a user and give them what they want. And that shows Google, then you won't need as many links, because it's like, I view it like buoyancy. If there's some sites that are really buoyant, when I bring them on and we make a few changes, and the changes happen like 3 or 4 days or a week later, and it pops up and all this money comes in, and they're like, there's ROI and they're happy. But then there's other times where the site just stays there down like a submarine, and it'll rise a little bit, then it'll drop again. And it's like, but here I'm a genius on this one, but I get to this campaign and I'm, oh man, this one's really bad for my ego. And it's usually because there's something heavy on the site, either code or something that's screwed up, and it just needs to be torn apart and redone. But can you do that if you're not buying paid traffic? Will that work? Probably not, because you got to wait for that traffic for it to rank. You have to go do a 6 months, 3 months worth of outreach. You don't even know if the concept on the page it's not even validated yet. So I think it's insane to run SEO campaigns without doing paid traffic first, because you got to validate the process. Otherwise, SEO is the most what's free traffic. Everybody wants it. But it's not free. It's not free. It takes effort. Yeah. It takes man hours, and it takes a lot of communicating with Google in ways that, and like communicating with them among the many data points that I said they digitized. It's just communicating with them and all that. And that takes effort. So why would we ever run a SEO campaign without first validating, like, if it's a sales page, does it convert? And if it doesn't, it's better just to keep rewriting it until it converts, because that's the page that's going to rank. Got it. Especially when that makes a lot of sense. Backlink to it. Cool.
Are you a tag manager as a must kind of guy?
No, I'm not real code friendly. In fact, my guys locked me out of our Google Tag Manager. I run the business. There's admins, like, and some clients I'm not allowed onto the page, and he thinks that. He said something's wrong with my user account or the password. I know he changed the password. He did. But I don't have any business to be on the site, to tell you the truth. So I like Google Tag Manager a lot for SEO because it's just cleaner. And in code, again, I think Google owns Tag Manager. I don't know. But it all works together. And if you could show, especially if you're using, the more of Google's tools we use, the better, because it gives them more data, right? And plus, if they created this tag manager, it's obviously what they're looking for. They obviously want their bots encountering that tag manager. And if your site's a large site, that could save you a lot of crawl time. It could save you because we all have a budget, right? The crawl budget, and the bot's going to spend X amount of time on the site before it takes off. And if you got a lot of glitches and a lot of messed up code, it can't get to the whole site, and then it takes off. But if it jives with it and can understand it and it is optimized right and the tech SEO is on the money, it's a real quick process, and Google immediately you could see changes. But that's SEO in a nutshell. You hit it. It's to take care of the user, and if you're doing that, well, that's pretty good recipe for digital marketing too, I heard.
There you go. I love it. And so right now, are you guys a remote team?
Yeah, well, we have an office. I'm in the office, one of the offices now, but it's been empty. And I came here for the internet. I mean, we've all been home and working, but we have a lot of kids home too, and they tear up the internet, and the neighbors' kids are tearing up the internet. I mean, Netflix is just killing our neighborhood right now.
Beast.
Yeah,
I heard that they throttled it in the UK.
They had to.
Standard def, yeah.
Too many people binge watch. They should do that with YouTube too. My kids are tearing up YouTube. Well, what they'll do is they'll have dual monitor, and then they'll have one monitor playing a game like Minecraft, and then the other monitor watching a YouTuber play Minecraft. So they're like doubling me up. And sometimes there's a third one with music coming from somewhere. So I know there's a third stream coming, and then we have 5 kids at home. So do the math. So that's why I'm here at the office. So it's like beautiful here. I'm like, I'm going to bring my sleeping bag. I'm not where you're at. I see your sunshine. You did it right. You did it right, sir.
We got lucky, and we got it timed perfectly well. Our whole family was like, no, you have to leave Mexico. You have to go. And I was like, I'm not going to go back to a city that's on lockdown already. Like, we weren't even in a state of emergency until last week. We only had 1,000 cases until last week. So for me, in a town of 3,000 versus 2.3 million or whatever it is in Toronto, I'm like, no, I'm not going anywhere.
And it's easier to socially isolate down there, I imagine, while you're surfing and the beach time. I mean, you're still being responsible, but if you're going to be responsible, you could do it in your living room in Toronto or on the ocean.
Not bad.
Yeah.
I'd love to pick your brain. I know I'm basically just digging up a bunch of your brain power, but this has been just super fascinating. And I think a lot of people are going to get a ton of value just out of like breaking down some of the misconceptions and stuff from a guy that's got experience and he's got a track record. So this has been great. If you don't mind, I'll just keep going.
Oh man, let's do it.
Awesome. Do you guys do any exercises or enhancements on the Google My Business accounts? I know posting content. I know you can do some map stacking. There's some techniques, but obviously for a local business, that's obviously an important part. Is it something you do with every account, no matter the size?
Yeah. One of the things that we found is that if it's in a brick and mortar business in a decent sized city where there's like New York or LA or even Chicago, we know that we could probably get in there and shuffle the deck a bit and get Google to probably get the rank. And then that's a good thing, because then we can get their last SEO. They just fired their last SEO after a year and they couldn't get past such and such. And we come in 2 weeks. And sometimes we can take it to page 1 just like that for almost all their keywords. So Google My Business is the first thing to look. So what we're constantly looking for is the low-hanging ROI, because it's there. Especially if there's traffic, there's ROI there. And if we can help them get that ROI before our initial 3-month pilot campaign is up, because we offer a 3-month pilot campaign for all our new customers. And if they don't have an ROI other than 3 months, in SEO, it's not that easy to get that ROI. Right. So what we get in and just look for the low-hanging fruit, and Google My Business is the GMB is the first place we go. We don't get too technical with it. We will light optimization, and then and pick the right categories, of course, especially. Yeah. And then we'll backlink it too, and then but that's about it. We backlink all of the directories and citations and that, just to strengthen them up. And Google already likes them, but it just, what else we're gonna do, right? Yeah. I mean, you got to keep fortifying the you can't just say the castle's done. I mean, you got to keep fortifying it, and then building more links, and then keep it going, because the competitors are building. The competitors are doing more link building. The competitors are doing more citations. So keeping up with the Joneses is actually sometimes kind of smart in SEO.
Absolutely. And so on the topic of link building, I mean, I think the type of person that would listen to the podcast would have a basic concept of it. Obviously, if you get something with a huge domain authority where you can get valid and super legit, I'm going to post a story about you. That's awesome. Would you say, and maybe this is obviously case to case, but so for example, a client of mine, he manufactures climbing walls, and we did a PR thing. So basically, any big publisher or any big newspaper or journal, it's all paid. Nobody's doing free press. Nobody
Right.
wants the story. They want the money for the story. We've done a couple of activations to make sure that we got a follow link from something with an authority on it. We saw some result from it, but like, how do you guys overall strategize backlinks?
Well, that's the what sets us apart from other agencies, because we really are a link building agency. First of all, we believe outreach is so important, and we do it with follow-ups. We do it with people that owe us money. Small business owners need to know how to do email outreach, and whether it's trying to get on a podcast, whether it's trying to track down that lead you talked to last week, and there's a lot of things involved in it. But what we believe in is that the old model of getting links that's taught on all the free sites, and where you get a big list and then you use a template and then you send that template out and then people respond back. First of all, in the old days, people would have really crappy quality. So no one would want to link to crappy quality. So then people started doing quality content, and then they would do their link building and say, well, we have really great content, but people don't care how great your content is. They don't care about you. They don't care unless your mom's got a website that your mom will give you a link from a template. I promise. Nobody else will, because it's like you're meeting a stranger and you're immediately asking for something in a way that other people ask. They've been asked that question a million times, probably with the same template. And then, and hey, I love your blog. It's really great. In particular, I like this one. It's just all. So what we do is we find the people we call golden prospects. These are people that are in the position to help our client grow the fastest and actually give referrals. And so there'll be somebody in their industry who isn't a competitor, but already has the relationships with a lot of people that are their buyer audience and already has influence with their buyer audience. We call those are links that you would build if Google didn't exist. So if Google didn't exist, you would have to find websites where your buyer audience was hanging out in large numbers. Then you would try to get to the owner of the site and work a deal out for them to give you a link and a shout out so people would click it and come over to your site. Now, those are links that we would have to build if Google didn't exist. And those are the links that we build now that change rankings the fastest. So what we do is, instead of just sending them a template, it's so easy to get a list of 20 of those types of prospects, limit yourself to the top 20, start following them on social media, start start retweeting them, start following them on Facebook, comment on their Facebook posts, reshare them. If they have a Kindle book, you go buy their book, you read it, then you leave a review in the name of the link builder who's reaching out to them. And you do that for about a month before you send out any emails. And they get to, and what you're doing is you're saturating the brain of your prospect with the name of the link builder in positive ways. So then at the end of the month, you reach out and it's a lot easier to get to yes. And people do not link to people that have great content. They link to people they like. And that's the bottom. And quality content is not a selling point. It's a given. I had a lot of girls reject me in college when I asked them out. And I didn't say, well, what do you mean? I combed my hair before I came over here and put a breath mint in. Why did you say no? That was a given. I should have done those things. So when we reach out and say, this content's so great, I'm such a beautiful writer, and I made it so beautiful that your readers are going to fall down and worship it. You're going to want to include this. It's like trying to build a relationship up with somebody by asking something in the very beginning of it is the worst way to build a relationship. And most link builders aren't trying to build relationships. So now people say, why? This system is too hard to use, Matt, because you're spending too much time on your prospects before you're asking for the links. Well, that's why you go after the biggest people. That's why you go after the people who are in a position to help you the fastest. And it's so easy to do. And then what will happen is you send your feelers out, and you do an intro to them or do a retweet. You're giving them, you're begging them, not begging, but you're trying to get them to respond back to you either on LinkedIn, either on Facebook, either on Twitter, either on email. You log into their list. I mean, you subscribe to their email list, then you reply to one of the to the email. I mean, it's just, this is common sense. You can't do that with a list of 1,000 people. No, nor would you want to. You could go through a month of that, then get a link from somebody that you didn't get any traffic. So the idea is to build relationship up, to get touch points with the prospect enough so they recognize the name of the link builder, then to build the relationship up with that prospect to the point where they not only give you a link, but then a second link and a third link and a fourth link. And then now they're starting to mention you in their newsletter. And then I did that for our agency. I went after Eric Ward. His name was Link Moses. He's no longer with us, but he was the best link builder, link building expert. If you look up link building expert, he's still ranked at number 1 or number 2, and he's been dead for 3 years. And wow. And I went after him as a prospect, and first he gave me a link, and then he gave me a second link, and I did everything. I documented this whole process. It's on a free course on my website too. So anybody that wants to learn how to do everything I'm talking about is on my website for free. And there's probably 25 hours of in-depth teaching that I used to charge $2,000 for the entire course, but now it's just free. And this style of link building is still very applicable. But anyway, long story short, Eric Ward ended up giving me 1, 2, 3 links. And then he mentioned me in his newsletter. Then he mentioned my book in the Amazon book in his newsletter. And it went all the way up to number 2 in the SEO category. So it's like, that's from one prospect, and that one prospect ended up giving us a couple $100,000 worth of referrals before he passed away, like 9 months after we became friends, and for me reaching out. So if you have the right prospect, and there are those people in every industry, they can't be your competitor. And so what you do is you reach out to 20 of them and find out which of them reciprocate, because not all of them will. Some are busy, some are traveling, some are in the middle of a divorce, some are doing but 3 or 4 of those 20 are right prime for the picket. And so basically they'll be the ones to respond back, and then you keep responding back, and then they know who you are. Then hey, by the way, I got this idea. And then you give them a pitch that benefits them. And then at the end, a lot of times we'll write them a guest post, and we won't even put a link on it. They're like, why'd you write this? I said, well, we did a content gap analysis, and we noticed that you didn't have this piece of content. So it's a gift. No, I don't want any link from it. And they're like, why are you being so nice? Because I don't want your link. I want your referrals. And then they'll say, why are you being so nice? What are you trying to sell me? I'm not. I'm trying to be a referral partner to you. And I believe that you need to give to get. And I'm giving, and I'm giving, and I'm giving. And one day you're going to give. But I don't want to talk about that right now. What more can I do for you? I'll go through their content and itemize it for them, and like categorize it like we do a Dewey Decimal System. Like, these are your posts on link building. These are your posts on SEO. I'll make a directory for his fans, and just anything I could do. I'll even go to their podcasts and get them transcribed if they're not already transcribed. So here's the transcription. That podcast was great. You need to put this up on your site, and don't worry about paying me for it. And if you could do that with the right prospects and big prospects, because at the end they will give you referrals, and they will give you links, and it'll be links that your competitors can't plug into Ahrefs and try to replicate, because it takes effort to get these types of links. But if you're going to put in effort, they might as well be with the best prospects in your industry that are in a position to give you the referrals you need to grow your business the fastest. Those people exist. And a lot of times they're out promoting their own thing. And if you can come in and, instead of promoting yourself, start promoting them and becoming their champion, they groove on that. And they like that. And then that's because now you're making it easy for them to market. And they can use your testimonial. So that's my style of link building. It's a loaded question, because I was ready for it.
Yeah, well, listen, that I loved everything that just came out of your mouth. Put in the work. People, people always want, what's the hack? Put in the work. Suck it up. Put in the work. Everything you said, amazing. That's super insightful. I love the process. I mean, I do it in my own way, kind of in my own ecosystem, and just the reward of building a real relationship with someone on the back end instead of being like, yes, I tricked him into giving me a
right,
whatever different thing,
got
completely.
one.
Yeah, got one. Yes.
Yeah. Well, a way to catch links is anytime you get a link request, just go to look at that piece of content they're asking for a link from and see who's linking to it. They obviously respond to form letters. So
Right.
if they're responding to that form letter that you just got, there's a hack. There's a free hack. So if you get an email request from somebody wanting to link to you, look to see if it has any links. If it does, there are templates working, and you could just reach out to those same people and say, I don't know, and get a link the same way. But I don't do SEO that way because those links might work, but why put efforts on links that might work? I want links that are going to get referrals for sure.
Yeah.
And those are the links that Google's going to like anyway, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be for sites.
I love it, man. That was so much value packed into 37 minutes. Fantastic. This is one of my favorite episodes, and we're not even there yet. We're not even at the finish line. But look, great. I loved everything. How can people find you?
Believe it or not, I have a website.
Got it. Is it Google? Is it ranked on Google somewhere?
Somewhere. If you go to Your SEO Squad, like yourseosquad.com, if the link most people probably want to start out with, if you scroll all the way down to the footer, there's a link building mastery link, and that takes you to 3 in-depth courses, and they're all out in the open. You don't even have to subscribe to get to it. It's just there for the taking. And I break down how to find golden prospects, how to introduce yourself to golden prospects, how to get your content ready for them to share, how to optimize your content, and how I do everything from A to Z. And I do it. We train our employees with it. And because I don't really hire SEO people, I hire people who follow instructions. We'll make them like solve a Rubik's Cube. Anybody can solve a Rubik's Cube. They search it on YouTube. You can have it beat within, I don't know, half an hour maybe. I mean, when I walk out of a room, that better be solved when I come back, because there's an algorithm, and it's called right trigger and left trigger. It's so simple. I'm teaching my first grader how to do it, and anybody that can't solve that, well, we're setting up a playbook for them to be able to. Step 1, get the white, we call it the daisy. Find the daisy, now do the white cross. These are the instructions. And if they can follow our playbook, then we know that they can follow our other playbooks that we have. Because we do everything by playbooks. Because SEO is very labor intensive. Very labor intensive. That's the problem with doing things right, because it becomes a job. And back when Black had SEO, it was wizardry stuff. It was like my overhead was my taxes, and that was it. I mean, I had like 1% overhead, and it was like had 10,000 clients, and if you can imagine $100 a month, it was just gravy. Now we charge a lot more than $100 a month, but it's just a job. It's just labor. Getting the content, doing the keyword research, doing the user search intent. I love it. It's what we do, but it's like, I feel more like a janitor's job now. It's nothing sexy about it. It really is nothing. I was a wizard. I was Mr. SEO. Now I'm nothing. Now I'm a custodian of websites. And I know how to clean them and get them ranked, I guess. So
there you go. Well, look, I mean, it's still a big, important thing. The way I look at all this marketing stuff, I love that moment of like click when the client's like, holy shit, I got a shot because of this guy.
Yeah.
So there's something satisfying about that.
Yeah, I'm in the game. I'm in the game. And before anybody could get in the game with Black Hat, you could give me $100. I'll put you in the game. And it doesn't matter if you don't get, if your conversion rate's only 1.001%, who cares? You only pay me $100. You might get 100 sales a month.
Right.
And that means 0.9999 people, percent of the people hitting your site is going to hate it. They're gonna hate you. They're gonna hate your site. And they used to make the sites really ugly too. It was just like you'd see all these banners, and you would just immediately back out of the site. So Google did a good job. I think they helped the business community because we all use Google effectively. You know, and before it just wasn't a tool. It was like it was a tool, but it wasn't a precision tool. Now it's like we find what we need, and that's because Google cleaned their acts up. So now it's really easy. So you could put in your keyword and then look to see what's ranking, and you can figure user intent out that way, not just because Google's so accurate. And you can almost reverse engineer the algorithm because Google's so accurate. But that's, I try not to get into that stuff anymore because it really wasted. I tried to beat the algorithm for too many years after Penguin in 2012. It's just, I was Mr. SEO. And man, now it's just a license plate in my desk. And I will never, ever do that again. Ever, Mr. Nothing. I'm not even Mr. LaClear. But I was just arrogant. And I even claimed to own the internet one time to a bunch of TV advertisers. It's just, hey, humility is a hard lesson to learn.
Sure.
And if you stick with something long enough, like we did with SEO, it's just amazing what you learn just by not quitting. Yeah. And even like this COVID-19 crisis, we're concerned that, hey, this might affect business. What's going on? I wasn't worried about, I never get sick, so I wasn't concerned. Yeah. Then I said, wait a minute, this could affect business. And my clients were freaking out. So all we're doing now is just offering, the hard hit industries, we're just doing free work for people. And, love it. And then we got payroll from the federal government for a while, and so let's just take New York City businesses and give them some SEO and loving, and get them some open graph images so people when people do come back, and they will come back. Canada's gonna strike back with a vengeance. We're all gonna strike back. It's gonna be a good summer. I really feel it's going to be. The arcade economy is gonna come back. We just got to get there. And so if just stay proactive, like I know you and I rescheduled because last week was a down week, man, with some of the news. It was like I watched every single second of the press news conferences about it, and just ad nauseum. And I was like, I don't understand. That's talking to my wife, why I feel so bad. Doom and gloom will suck the life out of the bone marrow. And it's so now I'm just working on my courses. I'm working on my clients' campaigns. I'm working on I got a COVID-19 relief page where we list over 200 different ways people can get grants and we're getting that information into people's hands. So it's like and anybody that wants to get to that page can do that easily. Your SEO Squad /COVID-19 with the hyphen for the 19. And there's over 200 grants. There's a lot of companies offering free SaaS services. You can get, there's a lot of free stuff right now. And so there's a lot of tools for small business owners to rebound, and we will rebound. Got it. I love that. Well, what I'll do is I'm actually going to push this episode ahead of our schedule so it goes out sooner so that people can get access to that sooner. I think that's a better. Cool. I'll move some stuff. Let me check on that link real quick. I'm going to break protocol of double check. Yeah, I'm sorry. I wasn't prepared for a video chat either. That's all right. Your listeners have to actually look at me too. Yep. COVID-19. So yourseosquad.com. COVID-19, and we're updating it constantly. There's no upsells on it. I don't even. Well, you might get pixels hitting, and I'm not. But that's okay. That's fair game. Pixel is fair game. Yeah. So other than that, it's a bunch of free resources on it, and we're actually applying for a bunch ourselves too, and we're putting how long it took and what snags we hit. All we can do is get in and help people and give people courage again. And we figure that, hey, you do that with enough companies. If you're a marketing agency, you don't have any clients, just get out and start helping people for free. Because when the yellow flag goes down and the green flag comes back up and we all start racing again, you're going to have market share. And that's how you win. And that's how you stay afloat. You just got to stay alive until that green flag comes out.
There you go.
That's the game.
Well, Matt, it was an absolute pleasure. It was super great to meet you. I appreciate all of it. So yeah, I'm going to push this episode ahead so we can get that resource out, and I'll link it up in all our show notes. Thanks so much.
Very cool. Mike, thanks for the chat time. It was cool chatting about business. instead of pandemic. It's a bummer topic, man. I used to think, oh, big deal, 1918 flu. They didn't know how to handle it. Scary old timers. And now it's like, wow, man, it's just scary stuff, man.
Yeah.
So it's now I'll never think that again. And the old timers, it's funny, it's happened almost 100 years since. So, well, all right. Take care, Mike.
Keep safe, keep well, and thanks so much.
Yeah, surf, man. Have fun.
Will do.
Bye.
All right.